All right, in this episode, we talk about how this guy got cut 12 times.
And making dreams come true.
All right, Brent Porcio, David Aardsma, Stephen Godon here at the @TopVelocity hashtag Pitch and Tip Show, where you go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, @TopVelocity, hashtag Pitching Tips. You ask a question, we answer it on the show. If we're lucky enough, we get a big leaguer here to chime in and give us all of his valuable insight. And you know, Stephen and I are always trying to do our best as well. But I want to do a special show because it's a question that I get a lot. And this is probably the best guy to have to really kind of provide a lot of good value to this topic. And I think it's really going to help a lot of guys out there. And that question is, and I talked to a dad last night who's kind of in the moment. His son had gotten cut from a really good team, a really good college. And it's hard. It's hard trying to wrap your head around it when it's the first time. You know, his son's a freshman. And it's hard a perspective going forward because sometimes, just from the parents' perspective, they don't know if the kid's going to survive this kind of thing that happens. This situation, pretty tough situation. So his concern is how does he help him maybe overcome something like this? And at the same time too, I think when anyone gets cut in their career, they're looking at it as, you know, do I really want to keep doing this? Am I enjoying it enough? Because it's going to be even harder now to really kind of get back on the horse. So I want to kind of talk about that today. And I think I'm going to start with David, because here's a guy, he'll probably correct me if I'm wrong, but just in professional baseball has been cut 12 times?
Sure, probably around there. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, in a sense, absolutely.
Right, it's because he's played for 12 different teams. So when you hear someone's played, and I don't think enough people do this, when you hear someone like David, who has 9 years in Major League Baseball, who's played for 12 different teams, basically he's been cut 12 times, right? And that's the reality of it. And I think David really has obviously a good perspective on being cut, and he really is the best at overcoming that. As much as I might like to share some of my stories and what I've done, I really want to hear from David. I think he's going to help a lot of you guys out there, and what to do and how to kind of regather everything and then step up to the plate again. Why don't you jump in, Greg?
For me, for a little background on my history, I'll never forget this. I've been cut long before professional baseball. I was cut on teams like in middle school. I was cut. I was always making B teams. My freshman year of high school, I was on the freshman B team, and later on, my coach only told me the reason he kept me is because he knew I worked hard. He goes, you weren't good enough to make the team, but you worked hard, so I knew at least you're going to get a little better. So for me, even from when I was younger, I wasn't always the best. I really wasn't. So I always had that attitude of like I needed to work harder. I needed to work harder than everybody else, no matter if I started having some success. Once professional ball came, it's a job. You're trying to make money for your family along with playing the sport you love. And yeah, in a sense, I have been cut 12 times because getting traded is essentially a team telling you that they don't want you anymore. Not getting your contract picked up is a team telling you they don't want you anymore. Or straight up like this year, like getting released is you're having a conversation with your manager and GM saying, we don't want you anymore. It's not easy. It's hard. It's actually one of those moments, just like Brent said, where you really have to reevaluate yourself, look in the mirror and say, do I want to play this some more? Because it's going to be tougher. You got to put in more work now, because it's not just kind of that coasting along and just having success. It's extremely difficult, but you really truly have to find that spot inside yourself and say, I want this. And you have to take a leap. Try to find a team. If you're in college, find a club team. During the summer, find a team during the summer and play, but take it serious. Take it way more serious than anybody else on that team, because for you, the club team isn't the end all be all. You want to make that team. You want to go back for tryouts and make that team. So in high school, you get cut. there's always another team somewhere that needs a player. Take that team, try your best, work your butt off, get bigger, better, stronger, so the next year the coach goes, hey, at least I know he's going to work hard. And show them that you did all those things. Find out from your coaches, take your time, and actually ask the coach, what did I do wrong? Was it just that the other players are better? And if they're better, how? I'm not big enough, I'm not strong enough. Know exactly what it is, because if you don't know what to work on. Whenever I've gotten released, whenever a team hasn't picked me up, I've asked them exactly straight up, what did I do wrong? Sometimes they have answers, sometimes they don't. But if you don't ask, you will never know, and you'll never know what to work on. So find out what to work on and do it. And then bust your butt, man, if you want it. If you don't want it, understand that's probably it for you. But don't just accept that without a fight. For me, I'm still doing this because I'm not going to go down without a fight, and I still think I have more left in me. If you think you've got more left in you, start fighting and find that team and play for it.
Yeah, and here's the perspective I think that really helps too, is you don't know the end of your life. You don't know the answers, right? And I think that can be a scary thing, but at the same time too, it can be a really exciting thing, because you're going, what if? What could I actually do? What are the great things that could come my way? And I just remember, having rotator cuff surgery, that was worse than being cut. It was like you're cut, but then doctors telling you you'll never play again. I think that's the worst case. But not only getting back, I remember I got an opportunity to play in the indie ball here, the Frontier League, and I got an offer to play professionally in Europe. And I just thought, because I didn't think I was going to be a major league player at that point, I'm barely throwing high 80s and I'm recovering from a rotator cuff surgery, I thought I'd have more fun in Europe. So I was like, I'm going to go to Europe and just enjoy myself and play professional baseball. So I go out there, and I had so much fun. I was like, I'm going to do this every year. But September 11th happened, and it literally changed the way all of us thought about going out from our homes with what was going on in the world. And I came back home, and I started coaching kids. And I thought it was just cool enough to say, hey, I got some pro experience. It wasn't in this country, it was in Europe. I thought that was cool enough to say as I'm coaching and helping. Yeah, I was a college baseball player too, but I got a little pro experience. And then I thought that was it. I remember at that point, I was going to go get a 9-to-5 job. I was like, well, that's it. But obviously, I didn't want to give up. I wanted to do it again. So I went to California, wound up playing indie ball here, getting to play with guys that I dreamed up, grew up watching, Jose Canseco, playing for Gary Templeton. And then I'm having this great kind of USA professional experience. And then I'm realizing, man, I remember a year ago, I thought Europe was it. Now this is awesome. So it's like, I think, look at that when you get cut. Don't look at, this is the end of my career, now it's over, now I've got to do something I don't want to do. No, just regroup yourself and realize that if I can just get back on the horse, it is going to be hard, and I can reapply myself, who knows where this can take me. Yeah, this door closed, but I'm now seeing all these other opportunities with new doors to go to that, God, man, this could be a better path, right?
Absolutely.
I just think that's where we go wrong. When we get cut, we close up, we think that was the only door, we think that's the end, and then if you can just open your eyes again, brush the dust off and look around, you might find, wow, there was even more opportunity I wasn't even paying attention to. And I think that's the positive in being cut. Would you think?
Absolutely. Getting cut is an opportunity to get better. I think the players that never get cut, that never have adversity, that always have success, end up failing and then immediately quitting, or failing and never getting over that hump. For me, I failed a lot when I was younger. I failed a ton, but it always forced me to have that workman attitude to get better every single step of the way. So when I got older and I'm in the big leagues and then I fail, I knew this wasn't it, man. I knew how to get out of that hole, and I knew the exact way to get out of that hole. If you're in college, that's the first time you got cut, man, take it as an opportunity to learn from and to get better for it. And if you come back and you make the team next year, you will be 100 times better of a player than you were if you made the team, because now you know what it takes. The players that make it don't know what it takes because it probably just came natural. It's like the kids in Little League that are always bigger, better, stronger than everybody else. They get to high school and they stop growing, they stop playing because they never had to work for it. It's the kid that was smaller that had to work harder just to be on the same field as those kids, that when they got to high school and the growth happened, then they hit because they know what it takes. And if you don't know what it takes because you've never had adversity, then you're not going to succeed. If you get that adversity, fail, get cut, get told you're not good enough, man, I could 1,000 people have told me I'm not good enough. And I have to make sure every single day I remind myself I am good enough, and I will show them. Those are those opportunities for you to succeed.
Yeah, I think accepting, and that's what I'm learning just from hearing David, the earlier you accept that doors are going to be closed in your face. You're going to get cut. You're not going to have the best year. The earlier you accept that, the quicker you allow, your maturity to learn from that when it actually does happen. And the more you keep your eye on the prize, the more you keep focused on the road, and you don't get thrown off when adversity comes. You go, okay, well, I've already accepted this. Let me just deal with it and keep going. So I think the earlier you can accept that this is just a part of the game, and there's a better chance that you'll have a success like David, because he obviously accepted that early, and that's what allowed him all the way up to this year when he gets released. Hey, all right, I'll see you next year. I mean, it doesn't bother him anymore, right?
Perfect example is this year with the Dodgers. I felt like I had a great spring training. They told me I wasn't good enough to make the team. That's fine. So I went to AAA, kind of, bit my tongue, went to AAA, busted my butt every single day. Had a great season for the first 2 months in AAA. Didn't get called up. So I took it out of my contract. I said, all right, if I know I'm not good enough for you, I think I can still play. I think I can be good enough for someone else. And literally 2 days later, I'm in the big leagues with the Braves because someone else gave me the opportunity. Said, hey, you're good enough. You just, obviously something for them didn't work out. We want you. But you just never know what that door is going to open. You really don't unless you step through it and really, run through it.
Yeah, and you wrote a great article in Baseball Essentials about that experience. Check that out, Baseball Essentials.
BaseballEssential.com.
Yeah, great article. Cool. Any input you want to throw into this?
One of the really inspiring stories to me is just even Michael Jordan's story of just getting cut in high school, and he's one of the greatest athletes and one of the best basketball players of all time, and they were telling him in high school, you're not good enough to make the team. What if he had just quit and just been like, you know what, they're right, I'm not good enough to make the team, I'm never going to do this. I think a lot of really great athletes were told you're not good enough, and they just keep coming back, keep trying until they reach their success. So I think you really just have to take that, especially in college. I know it's tough too, because when I was in college, I had come to Brent's camp, and I knew I wasn't athletically where I wanted to be, and I trained, got to a pretty good point to where I was able to make the team. But when I first got there, the coach told me that since I was walking on that, hey, we've got a bunch of guys that we recruited, and I'm just going to let you know, you're probably not going to make the team. And that really hurt me, just being like, wow, you know what, I'm not going to make it. But if I had just said, I'm going to quit, I never would have gotten my opportunity. I ended up sticking it out. Ended up making the team, got to meet some really great guys, play with some guys who got drafted. And then, that's just the thing where you don't know where the road's going to go. And then eventually I stopped playing there, went and got a job, and was like, I want to keep playing baseball. Now I'm here, I'm training with David Ardsma. I got his autograph when I was a little kid. It's crazy what path you're going to go on. You never really know. So just if it's what you love to do, just stick with it. Just stick with it as long as you can. Yeah, look in every story. I think Steven's right. Look in every story. Look out of baseball. Look in business. Every person who's had success had serious bouts with failure, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just a part of the game. Like I said, I think the earlier you accept that that's just a part of the game, and just know that every time it comes, you're going to deal with it, and you're going to bounce back, and you're going to look for more doors. I think you're going to have success. It's not the end, guys. No one controls your destiny except you. Once you say you're done, you're done. Yeah. But no one else can tell you you're done, and I think that's the lesson for today.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. If you got a question, go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at TopVelocity, hashtag pitching tips. Ask your question. We'll answer it on the show, and see you next time.
Yeah. Hold on, we them boys. We them boys.